not long before I came here, I met my wife, and I was on a really downward spiral there.
Hmm.
So that both of them really my marriage, because I believe she saved my life.
Man, listen.
Let's get after it and make today a win.
Rock thunder was so hard yesterday, you can still hear it rolling today.
My wins for yesterday were
Big win for us yesterday was. So my win yesterday was.
These things are like sweet.
Let's go.
Well, Barry, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, man.
I'm honored to be here, man.
I think we have a buriable on our
A
hands.
variable, huh? We have a few of those now and then.
What exactly is a buriable?
A variable is just me thinking that it's just I don't know how to explain it. It's optional thinking.
Right.
There's more to it than just one line cut and dry. There's always a variable.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a variable. There's always something there.
It's so funny. We have that written on the board. So anytime anybody has a problem, they say they have a
The
buriable.
variable.
Yeah. I was looking up in Workloo this morning to see how long that you've been with PHP, and it's November of 2017.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not far behind you.
No, only about 3 months. If I
Yeah.
remember right. Yeah.
So we've been here since basically the beginning for a lot.
Yeah.
As far as the growth of the company.
As far as the growth of the company and the progression of the commercial side of it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Back then it was mostly residential.
So I know a lot of people have heard my story as far as within the growth of the company. What's your experience since November of 2017? You've seen so much happen, so many people come and go, so many different changes, so many different hurdles that we've gone through, the good, the bad.
Mm-hmm.
What's Barry's experience in the company since 2017?
Well, for me, I don't like to move around a lot. I like to stay in one place. And my experience through the company is the slowly positive growth that we've been through. We've gotten rid of a lot of bad fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kicked that fruit right out of here. Got a lot of rid of a lot of it. Sorry. Really, just progressing. It's gone along the lines too of my past, who I was in the past as an alcoholic, and not long before I came here, I met my wife, and I was on a really downward spiral there.
Mm-hmm.
So that both of them really my marriage, because I believe she saved my life,
Mm-hmm.
because I was really bad, and it's been a really good progression with my marriage and with the company.
Right.
So just slowly progressing my life, my personal life, getting better and better and better, and going along with the company with that as well. So.
And since 2017, we were really small back then.
Yeah.
I think we, at most, maybe had 15 employees.
Not many at all.
And over the years, we've grown a lot, to the point where we actually shut the residential division down about 4 years ago and ran strictly commercial. And with you, Barry, you have a lot of experience, a lot more than most in this company in painting. Where did your painting journey start for you?
Well,
How old were you?
back in the 80s, as a teen, painting with my uncle and my aunt and uncle out in Sun City.
Really?
And he still has a company out there.
Oh,
And
wow.
So in the summers, when I was 16, I started there, and I think it was 86 or 88 when I really went full time. We had a family situation, and I dropped out of school. Drugs and alcohol had a lot to do that with and I went full time painting probably in 88 or 86. I don't remember. It's been so long. Yeah, it's been over 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So started there, doing repaints in Sun City West and Sun City with my uncle and my aunt. And by the 90s, I was into commercial, and just been doing it ever since.
Commercial in the 90s. What was that like? Well, I mean, because you just recently came out of the field,
Mm-hmm.
and we moved you into the estimating department. You were our quality control. You went around and took care of a lot of the punch lists, little items, so that way we didn't have to schedule a whole day to have guys out there, which was very crucial to the company because of how big we've gotten. And I'm just curious as to what was commercial painting
Back then,
back in the 90s compared to what it is today.
a lot more organized.
It was more
Well,
organized.
not necessarily the painting part, but the whole projects from start to finish were a lot more organized.
Because they're so fast track now.
Yeah,
They have a time frame, and they just push everybody into a corner and
yeah.
hope
Ev-
everybody gets it done.
Everybody had their time.
Yeah,
You had so many days to do it, but you actually had your time. Most of the trades were pushed out of the way, and you had your time to do it.
a lot more organized.
Oh yeah, a lot more organized. So there's a few now that do that still, but not very many.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could get away with a lot more stuff back then as well. I mean, if the cabinets got in your way, throw them out of the room.
Right.
You can't do that anymore.
No.
You get in trouble.
Now they have cameras all over the job sites
Yeah, that's crazy.
because of how bad the theft has gotten.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that day when we had the buggy stolen from Tolleson. Remember that?
Yeah.
On Bill Turpin's job?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
I thought he was playing a joke on me
Did
because
you?
I lived in Buckeye at the time, and which Tolleson was kind of on my path to
Mm-hmm.
the shop. And he called me early in the morning, and you know, Bill, he was always a prankster.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Brother, you're not gonna believe this." And I said, "What, Bill?" And I just left the house, and he said, we got robbed."
Again.
Well, this is the first time.
Oh, the first time.
So, because it was twice
Yeah.
on the same job site.
Same job site, yeah.
And I didn't believe him. And I was like, "All right, well, I'm on my way, Bill. Have you called the police yet?" And he was like, "No, not yet. I'll let you call him," because he didn't want to call the police. You know, Bill. And I got there, and sure as crap, you know, the first Connex had gotten broken into. And what they had seen, because we had the buggy, because it was a super big job site.
Yeah.
We had the buggy to pull a trailer. So the buggy and trailer were in one, and then all the paint and equipment was in the other one. So they took a couple sprayers and some hand tools and
Yeah.
stuff out of the first one. And then I think it was a couple weeks later, I got the same call from Bill, and I didn't believe him. I actually hung up on him, and he called me back like 3 times. And
Yeah. I remember that day.
he was like, "No, I'm serious, Greg. They got the other one now." I couldn't believe it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, being where that job was at the end of that street, they had all the time in the world to do that.
Right.
There was nobody there to stop them. There was cameras on the other buildings, but none down there at the end of that street.
Yeah, I remember because I had to go to the other building and talk to security over there to see if we can get footage. They actually released it to the police, but there was no footage of it.
Yeah.
And it never showed up. Yeah.
On its way to Mexico, probably.
Oh, yeah. I miss Bill.
I do too. Him and Midnight.
Yeah, Midnight too.
Yeah, we've been over there a few times, me and my wife, to have dinner with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that dog. That dog scared the crap out of me the first time I met it.
Yeah, no kidding.
That thing was so freaking big.
Yeah. I hope he's doing well.
Yeah. So a couple years ago, you saw us go through some major changes during COVID. You know, we downsized, and residential is what carried us through that. And right outside of that, when everything started picking back up, we were having a shortage of labor. We were having a lot of problems. And me and John actually came across an opportunity to start the vocational program.
Mm-hmm.
And when we started that, it was a very humbling journey for me and John. But for you, being out in the field and seeing what we went through as far as, you know, bringing in the vocational members and hiring them and training them in the field, what was your feeling about that as we were going through that? What was your thoughts on that?
Well,
At the
first,
beginning, let's say.
Yeah, at the first. In the beginning, I really didn't care for it too much, you know, just being what it was. And I didn't think it would work out. And, you know, for the most part, it has. We've had really great people come out of that program,
Mm-hmm.
but we've gone through a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
But the ones that stick around and really really push through and do what they got to do, they really stood out. They really shined.
They sure have.
They have.
I mean, look at Isaiah,
Yeah.
you
Definitely.
know, painter to project manager. I mean, shoot.
Shoot.
Shoot. To safety coordinator at the biggest construction site in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
running 15, 20 guys out there.
Yeah, he's really shined.
Yeah. To Mikey,
Yeah.
who you now work with in the estimating department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Mikey.
So we try to work together.
Yeah.
Um,
My biggest joy I get out of it all was Chad Underwood. I really do.
yeah.
Yeah, he's really shined a lot. He's really come around.
Yeah. My podcast with him, he almost had me in tears
I can
because
see.
I'll never forget the day when me and John were walking through New Freedom and we were interviewing everybody, and he asked me, he goes, "Well, what about Chad?" And I told him, I said, "Well, let's go talk to him. I want to give him a shot. I want to hire him."
Mhm.
And like I told Chad in that interview, I said, I'll never forget the look on John's face because he didn't believe me. He was like, "What the hell are you thinking?"
Yeah.
But I knew that everybody needs a second chance at some point in time in their life, you know? And I saw a different Chad on his second round going through that program. But I also knew on the back end that all the other painting contractors that we had involved were going to judge him based off of their first impression,
Yeah.
and nobody was going to hire him.
Yeah.
So I had to give him a chance. I had to give him an opportunity, like we did a lot of other people. But like you said, not everybody made it. The
No.
ones that made it are the ones that really just, they were all in,
Yeah.
you know?
And Chad, he took it and ran with it.
He did.
He's done every step, everything he can do to really improve himself.
Right.
And he keeps going. He doesn't stop.
Right.
I'm really impressed with him.
Yeah, me too. And now John and Mikey are back at New Freedom,
Mm-hmm.
running the vocational program again. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, so am I. Hopefully we could really get some good ones this time too.
Right. We're definitely going to go through a lot of guys again.
Yeah.
Because, and my perception of it is, even though people are checking themselves into a 90-day rehabilitation center, whether they're coming from the streets or incarceration, it's not everybody's ready. Not everybody's ready to invest into themselves. And the reason why I say that is because they're 1 foot on this side of the fence and 1 foot on the other.
Yeah.
And I've watched the ones that have failed, and they had every opportunity that we gave every single person. And you look at Isaiah, Chad, John Warner, all of these other people that graduated New Freedom and we hired through the vocational program, they've all excelled super fast because they followed the recipe that me and John gave them, because we both have come from the same past.
Yeah.
And the only thing that we're giving them is employability skills, how to be a good person, how to be a better member of society, and how to take direction, how to be humble, how to take constructive criticism. And a lot of people can't handle that.
No.
They get stuck. You ain't going to tell me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't going to tell me how to do it. I know what I'm doing. And those are the ones that struggle the most. Now, it's not to say that every single one of them failed. Maybe PHP was a stepping stone for them,
Always a possibility, yeah.
because some of them are doing something different. Some of them relapsed. Some of them went back to incarceration. Some of them went back to the streets. But some of them are still doing good.
Yeah. I wish that program was around when my brother got out of prison, because he might still be with us. You know, he took his own life after a couple of years out of prison because he really didn't have any opportunities.
Right.
Yeah. So I wish that program was there for him, because it does a lot of good for a lot of people.
It really does.
Yeah.
And I remember when you went through that, that was a rough time.
Yeah.
I even think sometimes too, for me, you know, back when I went through everything that I went through to pull my head out of my rear, I wasn't a real big program type of person. I think for me, the eye opener was meeting my wife, kind of like your story, and realizing that she was pregnant. And at that moment, I said to myself that I would never, ever let my kids see me in that frame of mind
Yeah.
under those circumstances, however you want to put it.
As that person, the type of person.
Yeah, exactly. As that type of individual. Because it wasn't me. And I made a promise to myself and my wife and kids at that moment that I would get my life together and be a supportive and reliable husband and provide.
Yeah.
As a man should.
Yeah. A man should be a provider, a protector, and a presider.
Right.
Yeah. You know, if I would have never met my wife, I'm pretty sure I'd probably be 6 feet under by now.
I can
Yeah.
say the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I love her to death.
I love your wife too. She's a character.
She is.
I love her. I love when we get to go shooting,
Yeah.
go out to the desert and be out there first thing before the sun comes out and listening on our headsets.
Mm-hmm.
She's funny.
She is.
Yeah.
Cracks me up every day. Always asking me for directions because, you know, Europeans don't know directions very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love her to death.
Oh, directions as far as driving?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, when we moved to Phoenix, she was hired on to be a postman.
Mm-hmm.
No, didn't work out.
No?
No, because if you're a postman, you can't have anything to help you with you can't have any electronics at all.
Really?
No GPS, nothing, no cell phone, nothing. And you had to do your own route back then as well.
Mm-hmm.
You had to do it. And she just couldn't do it.
How long has she been here?
In the States?
Yeah.
When we moved back from Spain in 2015. But she lived here back in the 90s, went to school in California for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And she moved back to Spain.
How did you guys meet?
On the internet.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
She fell in love with me at first sight.
So she says?
So she says.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And I didn't think nothing of it, you know. She fell in love with it. She didn't say that. And she started calling me Bear. And I said, Bear, I'm only Bear for, you know, I can't even remember so long ago. But, yeah, she fell in love with me at first sight. And you know, it's at that time, she was on home for sick leave because she had a back surgery. And she was a quadriplegic about 3 months prior to that. And they told her she'd never walk. By that time, she was walking with a cane when I met her. Now she's just walking around with no cane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. Been through a lot.
Yeah.
Fighter.
Mm-hmm. So for you, you've been in the estimating department for, what, a month or two?
Yeah, about 6 weeks, yeah.
6 weeks?
Yeah.
What is that like for you right now?
I'm loving it.
Are you?
Totally different. You know, I'm getting to see the other side of the business, and I'm helping a lot with the guys. You know, they're always asking me questions and things they don't know. They're not going to you as much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, come and look at this. I'll go look at them and give them my opinion, and yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Nice.
It's fun.
Yeah, I think it was really good, not only for you because you're obviously getting older.
Yeah, obviously.
And, you know, in Arizona, it seems like every summer over the last 4 or 5 years, it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter and harder and harder to deal with.
Yeah.
And I think it was the best move to get you in there.
I believe so too. I don't think I'm going to survive this working in the field anymore in the summers at all. Not
Yeah.
in Arizona anyway. No.
And not only for you was it better, but to get you and your amount of experience in there,
Mhm.
you know, with Mikey and Derek.
Yeah.
They needed that.
Yeah.
They needed that.
They're doing great too. They really are.
They're landing so many jobs right now.
Pushing through a lot of stuff. We're getting it done.
Right. That's amazing. Well, I really do appreciate you, Barry. You know, everything that you've done with the company and being here, and you've taught me a lot personally. I want to hear your opinion because you've known me since the very beginning. Since we both kind of been with PHP for since 2017, give or take a couple months. You've seen me grow, and from being a field painter, limited experience on painting, to growing and becoming part owner of this business, and now running this business. What's your thoughts on my growth and where I've come from?
There's a funny story there.
Oh, God.
Oh, I remember first time I worked with Bill, and you were out there. I was sick. I had the flu, and I was up in the boom, and you were rolling below me, and you were splattering paint all over a black light fixture, and I said, "Oh, this guy ain't gonna make it." And here you are. What? 8 years later? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here you are. You're the biggest win of them all.
Yeah. It's been a journey.
It has.
It's had a lot of ups and downs,
It has a lot of ups and downs.
but like you said, a lot of wins too.
A lot of wins.
It's really exciting to be a part of this and be a part of the journey.
Well, yeah, you have to lose to know how good you're winning. Sometimes.
True.
You got to be knocked down. The only way you know how well you're doing good is to be knocked down once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
We all need that once in a while.
And you can't be afraid. You have to take risk.
Yeah.
You got to try.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if you don't try.
If you get out of your comfort zone, there's no boundaries
Right.
you can't cross. You know, it took me forever to get out of my comfort zone. It took me, forever. And it was a big decision just for me to move to Spain. Before then, I never even really been on an airplane, on a jet like that before. And yeah, everybody's got to get out of their comfort zone. And it was a big step for me to do that.
Right.
If I'd never done that, I don't know where I'd be. Probably 6 feet under.
Well, I'm glad you're not.
Oh, so am I. It's dirty down there.
So the big question is for you, Barry, at the end of this is, what's your biggest win today?
My biggest win, or business-wise, is you and John in this company. It's really great to work in such a positive environment. It really is. For personal, it's my wife, definitely. She's my best friend, one of my only friends in life, really. And I don't even know where I'd be if she wasn't around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
And I really do appreciate you coming on.
No problem. Love being here.
Awesome.
Do it again sometime.
Well, let's hear your win. Like, subscribe, and follow. We'll see you on the next one.